Hello, and welcome to an introduction to the sociocultural learning theory. Sociocultural theory is the belief that learning is a fundamentally social process. The theory was developed by Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky in the early 1900s. Vygotsky believed that learning and human development occurs through social interactions with one's community and with the culture surrounding the learner. This is how one's knowledge, skills, and behaviors are formed and shaped. Sociocultural theory has been expanded upon by others, including Jean Lave, Etienne Wenger, John Seely Brown, and Paul DeGood. In this presentation, we're going to focus in on the collaborative findings and beliefs of Lave and Wenger. Jean Lave is an American social anthropologist and professor at UC Berkeley. Etienne Wenger is a Swiss learning theorist and a practitioner of social learning. The pair published Situated Learning, Legitimate Peripheral Participation in 1991, in which the term communities of practice originated. The concepts in situated learning were then elaborated on by Lave and Seth Chaiklin in 1993 in Understanding Practice, Perspectives on Activity and Context, and by Wenger in two subsequent books, 1998's Communities of Practice, Learning, Meaning, and Identity, and 2002's Cultivating Communities of Practice, A Guide to Managing Knowledge. Lave and Wenger developed a situated learning model in which learners gain knowledge through participation in a community of practice, or a group of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and are motivated to learn how to do it better. Learning in these communities of practice often occurs through legitimate peripheral participation, meaning that learning is often incidental and not always intentional. Learners, through immersion into the sociocultural practices of the community, can develop a mastery of knowledge or skills. Those entering as novices can become experts through regular interaction with the group through this form of continuous, long-term learning. Members of communities of practice collaborate over extended periods of time and will share their ideas, strategies, solutions, and innovations with one another. As the level of engagement and the complexity of their interactions with their communities increases, learners will move away from peripheral participation to full participation. In order for a community of practice to exist, certain conditions must be met. Number one, a domain is required. The group must be committed to something, be it a shared interest, a field of study, or a career pursuit. Number two, a community is also required. Those in the domain need to interact and engage with one another so that information can be shared, relationships can be built, and learning from one another can occur. And three, a practice is required too. Members of this group are not merely interested in talking about their shared interest, skill, or work-related activities. They are practitioners, meaning that they have skills and resources that have been cultivated over time. They are able to share stories and experiences, provide tools and methods for solving problems, identify gaps in their current knowledge, and collaborate with the group to fill those gaps. If these criteria are met, learning can occur through social participation. When an individual is an active participant in the social practices of their community, they will form and shape their identity in the context of that community. All learners have a want to belong and establish themselves as an important member of the group. This can provide motivation for learners as they will want to improve or develop certain skills, behaviors, or knowledge to fit in and emulate those around them that possess those things. Through this, new group members will establish their own professional identity or persona and co-create knowledge. Overall, the desired learning outcome for Lave and Wenger is that learners will co-construct knowledge, skills, and norms through these social interactions. Lave and Wenger's theory of situated learning through communities of practice can be applied to both educational environments and within adult learning or professional settings. All classrooms, student organizations, clubs, or study groups can become communities of practice in which students learn from one another through discourse and participation in group activities after being guided through fundamentals by an instructor. Students come to the classroom from a wide variety of backgrounds and with their own personal experiences and prior knowledge. As they interact with their peers and are exposed to new and unique perspectives, They have the ability to evolve their strategies for problem solving, increase their knowledge about a certain process or topic, establish norms and expectations for community members, and encourage research and knowledge development. Communities of practice also allow for different levels of participation, so students have the opportunity to learn through observation, formal or informal exchanges, and collaborative activities in which they will work with others to co-create knowledge and seek out new methods, approaches, and techniques related to the subject of an activity. Professional associations such as the Association of American Educators, the National Communication Association, the American Medical Association, or the International Webmasters Association, just some examples, also serve as communities of practice. Members who often join with different levels of expertise and experience meet and network regularly and discuss innovations and advancements within their field or industry, as well as changes or challenges facing a field, industry standards and quality of work conditions, and opportunities for collaboration and skill development. The Internet has made communities of practice more accessible and easier to develop, as geographical limitations no longer separate people with shared interests and regular communication is possible. Online communities of practice also have greater ability to record and store information as it is presented and discussed, so that members can review and revisit these discussions whenever needed. Social learning and communities of practice around the domain of e-learning can increase effectiveness and lead to the construction of new knowledge in the same way as traditional classroom or in-person settings. In summary, Leib and Wenger believe that social interactions are integral to the creation of knowledge, and knowledge, skills, and behaviors are derived from participation in the social environment around the learner. Communities of practice composed of practitioners of a certain skill or trade provide opportunities for learning, sharing, and collaborating amongst novices, experts, and all levels of expertise in between. Learning begins through legitimate peripheral participation, but can increase to full participation through active engagement with the community of practice.